Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, OTAs, they start today for the Silver and Black and several other NFL teams. I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the rumors that I have seen thus far. Is Divine Deablo the Raiders' best-kept secret? Denzel Perryman trade rumors. We'll talk about it, and then I'll show you some fun pictures from my weekend with Raider Ron and a bunch of other awesome Raiders fans. So before I get into the first part of today's show, I saw at The Athletic, they released an article about 5 players with the most on the line entering OTA. I'm going to talk about the 5 players that are mentioned and then give my 2 cents on all 5 of those dudes. But before I get into it, which Raiders player has the most to lose at OTAs? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments. The first name coming up here is Alex Leatherwood, and I'm just going to warn you guys ahead of time. I'm going to show you a lot of quote graphics here on today's show, and then go ahead and give my analysis on what that quote means, and then essentially what it could be meaning going forward. So the first thing that The Athletic had to say on Leatherwood was, the Raiders haven't said whether Leatherwood will line up at guard or tackle, but chances are that offensive line coach Carmen Bracillo will try him out at both. And personally, I think that they should try him out at both. You got to at least see maybe the offensive line coach, Tom Cable, who has never been all that great, was the biggest reason why Leatherwood wasn't put in a good situation. Now you have Carmen Bracillo, you at least give it a shot. Here's the issue behind that. I do not see Leatherwood as a right tackle. When he was first coming out of the draft, when he was first coming out of Alabama, I said that he was a guard. I don't think that he has the footwork to be quick enough up against some of these faster edge rushers in the National Football League. The next thing that they go ahead and talk about on the offensive line is around Denzel Good, and it's Denzel Good would likely be one of the guard starters as long as he's recovered well from the torn ACL he suffered in Week 1 last year. But the other job will be up for grabs. I have said on this show for months at this current point that I expect Denzel Good to be the starting left guard for the Raiders. I have also heard that they plan on putting the best 5 offensive linemen out there. No shit, Sherlock. But I anticipate him being the left guard. And from what I have been told, and according to reports, Good has already been cleared with that ACL injury that he sustained all the way back in Week 1. I was told he was 95% healthy probably about 2 months ago, so you're hoping he's doing a lot better. And in terms of Good, I do see him being a starter. However, if for whatever reason he's not 100% healthy, you could technically cut him. This offensive line, this new regime, they don't owe Good anything, and you can go ahead and save $4.2 million. I wouldn't do it, but it's an option. The Athletic also goes ahead and talks about Brandon Parker and what he could be looking for. And while the Raiders re-signed Brandon Parker, who started 14 games at right tackle last year, he'll have to earn the starting job. I've always said that I thought Parker is a below-average right tackle. Yes, he has the opportunity to make up to $3.6 million, but nobody here wants to see Brandon Parker as a starting right tackle. I will say I don't anticipate him starting, but a sneaky name to keep in mind on the offensive line is Jermaine Eluemunor. Eluemunor has ties with Bracillo, has ties with the past Patriots coaches, and has been a guy that they brought back on purpose. I like Eluemunor, but he's probably more built to be a guard. To stay up to date, man, on all the Raiders OTA news, rumors, if we get new updates, we will go ahead and break it down for y'all. I don't know if you know this or not, but the Raiders beat reporters, they're not allowed to go on the first day. They'll be there some other days, but we're going to give you everything that you need to know. News, rumors, so turn on those notifications and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's go to the next name here with most on the line. It's Andre James, the center. And I had a lot of people hating on me on social media a few months ago, or I guess not a few months ago, a few weeks ago, about a month ago, that I said, I don't think Andre James is going to start at center. This is what The Athletic had to say. James signed a 2-year extension last year and is under contract through next season. But, again, the staff isn't obligated to start him because of that. He got better as the year progressed, but he was a below-average to average starter for most of last season. I think Andre was a good story. He was historically bad the first 4 or 5 games of the year, and then he did. He got better. But James is going to be the backup center, and the simple reason is this. The Raiders really like Dylan Parham, and for that reason, he's going to go ahead and he's going to be the guy. But you can't necessarily move on from him because people are like, all right, well, why don't you just cut him? because if you cut him in 2022, it saves you only $100,000. Andre James is good enough to at least be a backup center and backup guard on your football team. However, cutting him in 2023, that's going to go ahead and save you $5 million. So I would anticipate this is going to be Andre James's last season with the Silver and Black. Also, The Athletic goes ahead and says this. The Raiders drafted Dylan Parham 90th last month. They plan to cross-train him at center and guard, but they don't have another viable center on the roster outside of James and Parham, which sets up a two-man battle for the starting job. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type my DP here for Parham because I just think he's the better center. He's the better prospect overall. But let me know down in the comments section, who is the better center? I do think Andre James is the starter if the season were to start right now, and he has the foot above him. However, Parham is simply bigger, more athletic, and I have straight up been told that the Raiders see Parham being a center, and he was actually doing a little bit of this at the Senior Bowl here. So again, bigger, more athletic is Parham at the center position, and it's not hating on James, it's just I think Parham has the upside to be a Pro Bowl caliber player where, I'm sorry, James just a little bit undersized and doesn't have that upside. Now, it's going to be a two-way battle. They're ready to rumble. I'm ready to rumble too, and if you guys want to support the Raiders Report, if you care about me at all, you will go to rumble.com/Raiders Report for more content. So you can go ahead and scan that QR code, and if you hate the Chiefs, I have been trying to pass the Chiefs on Rumble, and we're falling further and further behind. So please, take 2 seconds out of your day, go to rumble.com/Raiders Report, and go ahead and give us a follow, where we also do Raiders Rumble after-hour shows. Videos that are put out there before you see them on YouTube. The next player with the most on the line is Clelin Ferrell. And Cleve, sure, they've already turned down his fifth-year option. The Athletic said the Raiders will still play some 4-3, but they're working more 3-4 concepts under defensive coordinator Patrick Graham this year. So Ferrell will have to learn new rules to become a part of the defensive rotation. Cleve's going to be making $9.98 million, no matter what. The only way the Raiders aren't on the hook for that is if you're able to trade for him. Nobody's going to trade for Clelin Ferrell at that point. So you can't really expect him to be a defensive end. You've seen it for 3 years in a row. If you try to throw him out there again, that is the definition of insanity. So you can't expect him to be a DE. You got to try him out at outside linebacker. Also on Ferrell, he could play outside linebacker in early downs and then transition to a 3-4 defensive end on passing downs. Clemson ran a multiple defense when Ferrell was in college. So he's not completely inexperienced in those rules, but he still needs to learn the responsibilities in Graham's system. Given Ferrell's ineffectiveness at rushing the passer as a 4-3 defensive end, he just has 8 sacks in 3 seasons. It feels like it would make the most sense to line him up as a 3-technique defensive tackle when the Raiders go to a 4-3 base. And I agree with this. If you're going to run a 3-4, throw him out there at outside linebacker here and there. Let him try to get after the quarterback. But if you're going to go in a 4-3 and you need to have somebody down, I'm going to put Ferrell in as that 4-3 defensive tech because he was better as a run stopper. Cleve was actually not that bad in 2020, and I know I've said this multiple times, but it was more as a run stopper. You got to put your players in certain situations, so if he doesn't see the field in passing situations, I'm okay with that. Put him in against the run. Let him see what you can do because no matter what, you're going to pay him $9.98 million, so you might as well try to get the absolute most out of him, and that is putting him in running situations. Trayvon Mullen next up here for players most on the line at OTAs, and this is just simple. We've talked about Mullen in long bunches, and if it wasn't for the injury, he still would be on this list, but because of the recent injury, that's why he's on this list even more. This is from The Athletic. Mullen had an undisclosed surgery this offseason, so his status for OTAs is unclear. Again, I was told it was a cleanup, and I'm going to stick to that. The Raiders added 2 starting caliber outside corners this offseason. They traded for Rocky Sin and signed Anthony Averett. So Mullen could find himself competing to hold on to his starting role this year, and if there's a delay with him getting back on the field. Let's just get one thing straight, though. Rocky Sin, who the Raiders traded Yannick Ngakoue for straight up, he's going to be the Raiders' #1 corner. You guys are going to love him. He was a second-round pick, 34 overall out of Temple. He's going to bring that toughness, the tenacity that I know Raider Nation loves. Then Anthony Averett. The Raiders signed him to $4.5 million. You're like, $4.5 million. It's actually double, almost double of what Trayvon Mullen's making. I know you can't compare the two, but to give Anthony Averett $4.5 million this offseason told me that this coaching staff does like him a lot, and there's some connections there with Ryan. Nate Hobbs could also play outside corner. I'm a big believer if it's not broken, don't fix it. He was so good last season inside the slot, but McDaniels has actually said that they view him also, or that he has the athletic ability, talented enough to play outside corner. So I'll say if Mullen's healthy, he is a solid cornerback too. And I don't really think many people would disagree with that. So the fact that you have Averett, the fact that you have Mullen, the fact that you have Rocky Sin, those are your top three corners. The issue is this. Confidence level. Hit me with it down in the comments section. Scale it from 1 to 10. What the hell is your confidence level in Trayvon staying healthy? And when I say staying healthy, I mean him legit being healthy for the entire season. 1 to 10. I don't think anybody's going to put anything over a 5. The final name up here for most on the line at OTAs is Johnathan Abram. No surprises here. The Raiders declined his fifth-year option. The Athletic said Abram transitioned into a box safety role last season and looked far more comfortable. He set a career high with 116 tackles, was effective in run support, and made a few plays as a situational blitzer. It was easily the best season of his career, not saying a lot, but he could still be exploited in pass coverage, struggled when asked to play as a deep safety, and suffered a season-ending shoulder injury for the second time in 3 seasons. I like Abram a lot. He brings that tenacity, he brings the hit stick, but Patrick Graham uses a box safety. I've always said that I view Abram as a box safety. So what's the issue here, Mitch? With Patrick Graham's defenses, you need to be versatile as a safety. I know Trayvon Mullen, he's extremely versatile. They're going to be able to use him fine, but they're also going to run 2 safeties, which is why I said the day that the Raiders went out and signed Duron Harmon, Harmon will simply play more than Johnathan Abram. Why? Harmon has the experience. He was with the New England Patriots from 2013 to 2019, played in a similar scheme with the Detroit Lions in 2020. Sure, the Atlanta Falcons was not good last year, but Harmon has played as a box safety, he's played as a free, he's played as a strong safety, and he's even played a little bit of slot cornerback. He's a lot better in coverage. That's why Duron Harmon will play more than Johnathan Abram. Coming up here on the Raiders Report, we're going to get into the Raiders' best-kept secret this offseason. And I saw this article out there. I've seen a few other people talk about it, so I wanted to go ahead and talk about it as well. And it was this. Divine Deablo. And the best-kept secret on every NFL roster heading into the 2022 season was written by Bleacher Report, and Deablo was listed for the silver and black. Yes, he is entering his second season in the NFL. When he was first coming out of Virginia Tech, he was a strong safety. However, there was early reports that, like, all right, the Raiders are going to try to do with Deablo what they tried to do with Tanner Muse. The issue is this. Tanner Muse was not nearly the athlete that Deablo is. On top of that, Deablo took the job, and he kind of ran with it. I personally agree with the fact that he is a secret weapon, and I know for a fact that the Raiders are going to love Deablo's versatility. He was a good inside linebacker last season, actually played a lot better in the run-stopping department than he did in the coverage department, which I was a little bit surprised about, but I'm telling you right now, Deablo is absolutely a good kept secret. 3 more kept secrets. I know I've already mentioned a little bit here about Duron Harmon. Jayon Brown. Jayon Brown, his ability to be able to cover is something that the Raiders coaches love. And then Kyler Fackrell. Kyler Fackrell, the best year he ever had was under Patrick Graham as an outside linebacker when he had 10.5 sacks. So Bleacher Report had this to say on the inside linebacking battle. With the inside linebacking spot next to Denzel Perryman up for grabs, Deablo will likely battle Jayon Brown for the position, which, yes, you're going to see a lot of defensive shifts here, and I do expect to see a lot of 4-2-5, 4 defensive linemen down, 2 linebackers, 5 nickels. It's going to be something that the Raiders like to run. In that situation, I anticipate Denzel Perryman to be out on the field, which then means it's either Divine Deablo or it's Jayon Brown. Who's the better linebacker? I know Raider Nation loves double D's, so type double D's for Divine Deablo or JB for Jayon Brown. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Deablo is the better run stopper and Brown is the better guy in coverage. So for the Raiders, you have best of both worlds. Obviously, you can't put these players in certain situations because you never know what the offense is going to do. But the Raiders, they have a sneaky good linebacking group. I would still like a little bit more depth. But yes, Deablo, Jayon Brown, and then I would go ahead and say Denzel Perryman are going to be your top 3 linebackers this next season. So speaking of Denzel, I get that this is the time of the year in May, and I do the same thing. I put out segments, I put out different shows of different opinions, and one of them was trade candidates. And I'll also go into some of the people that I could see being dealt. But one name that was brought up was Denzel Perryman. And I'll talk about this in a second. But some of you are probably like, Mitch, you look tired. You know why I'm tired? I had one hell of a weekend this weekend with Raider Ron and a bunch of other Raider fans. Met up with some guys at Candlestick, which was like right in San Francisco. The only guy that didn't have a good time was the dude that tried to throw a rock through the bar and got his shit rocked by a bunch of these Raider fans here. So if you came out, appreciate everyone who came up and showed out. But the reason why I went to San Francisco is because when the Davante Adams trade went down, we got the biggest Venmo super chat we ever did from Raider Ron. So I was able to hang out with him, hang out with his daughter, her boyfriend, my boss, CEO James Yoder. We had some beers. We were hanging out at some different vineyards here. This picture is really funny because I was like, David Zahn, Raider Ron, the top two guys, and Raider Ron's like, I'm the number one guy. So you guys got a little bit of competition. It was just cool to be able to sit down with him, hear about his experiences. He's like somebody who's very passionate about Guam, the Guam community, which you might be able to see his necklace here. But Raider on, from me, from James, from the entire Chat Sports team, we appreciate you. I had a hell of a time. My flight landed at 6. I think I got in at like 6:30 a.m. this morning. Got about 2-3 hours of sleep. James and I, we headed back into the office, and here we are making a video. We got that commitment to excellence because I know Raider Nation and I know Raider Ron have the commitment to excellence as well. So, Ron, I appreciate you, man. I had a hell of a time. The final story here is around Denzel Perryman, and is he getting dealt? SB Nation released a trade candidates article. I'm going to say zero just win, babies. Tuck rule, tuck that. Perryman listed as a candidate. I get people trying to make content. However, when I see trade candidate, videos come out here, a lot of the names that SB put in the article, I was like, okay, I can make an argument for Josh Jacobs. I can make an argument for Kenyon Drake, Clelin Ferrell, Denzel Good, Johnathan Abram. I can literally make a whole video around all those. Technically, with Denzel having only 1 year left on his contract, I might be able to see it, but it was the one to me that stuck out the most. And this is what SB Nation had to say on the Perriman trade. I'm not suggesting the Raiders deal Perriman, who made the Pro Bowl last season after they traded for him from Carolina in August, but many scouts don't feel like he is a natural fit for Patrick Graham's defense. Still, the Raiders are a work in progress at linebacker, so keeping Perriman may be the smart move. I don't disagree with the idea that he might not be the best fit. Perriman, the reason why he had such a good year, he was just a really good fit in Gus Bradley's defense. They had that connection. But keeping Perriman, let's be honest, it's a smart move. You're not going to get rid of somebody who had 154 tackles, even missed a few games, probably would have had 180 if he would have played the entire season. He's got a good connection with the guys in the locker room, and linebacker is still a need for this team, so you better damn well keep Denzel Perriman.